Hi everybody, welcome to week 8 of your practicum. Wow, at the end of this week we will be halfway through your practicum course. This is really moving fast, for me anyway, maybe not for you. But anyway, we're almost halfway through. Alright, so this week we're going to be discussing GCU's mission and vision. Basically, can you see the tenets of the mission and vision within the MSN curriculum, and if so, how? Okay, so that's kind of basic, but then we are looking at meeting the needs of multiple stakeholders when we embed the mission and vision into our curriculum, okay? So for example, with GCU, how can we espouse a Christian worldview when not all of our students are Christian? So that's kind of the topic. We'll be going back and forth. And for instance, how do you take your morals, beliefs, and values and implement those in maybe a secular setting that is not religious or does not encourage educators or staff to use their beliefs, morals, and values kind of within the setting? An example that comes to mind is that, let's say you are a Christian and you feel comfortable praying with your patients. Would that be discouraged or frowned upon in your institution? You have students who are struggling. How do you use your own values, morals, beliefs to help that struggling student within the confines of an organizational structure? So those are the kind of things I'm thinking about with this discussion question, okay? All right, so since we don't have any real big assignments right now, I want to spend some time talking about the upcoming nursing portfolio assignment. The assignment is shown under week 15 of 18. So if you're following the weeks of our discussion questions, it's really week 13 that this is going to be due. So the idea is that you're going to be creating a professional portfolio. It's somewhat limited because we're only focusing on certain aspects of a portfolio. But the idea is that you will prepare this and could maybe then use it as part of applying for a future educator position after you graduate. So that's kind of the mindset going into developing the portfolio. Okay? So the assignment is an actual paper, but it includes several different components. There's a goal section, what are your career goals going forward? There's a type of resume area where it talks about licenses, certifications, experience, and such. There's a reference list and reference letters, and then a larger narrative section dealing with the Boyer model of scholarship and each of the NLN competencies. Okay, so there are two areas that you should probably be working on at this point, or at least starting to think about them. The first, the references. So you're going to need to make a list of 3 references. One's got to be from a work setting. One can be a personal reference of anyone you choose. And then one has to deal with education. Often my students will, towards the latter part of their practicum, will ask their preceptor for a letter of recommendation. Doesn't have to be lengthy or in-depth. If that doesn't seem to work out for you, some people have used an educator from where they work, if that individual is familiar with their skills and abilities. And then some students have looked at a prior faculty member at GCU to write a letter of reference. That's a little harder because you only see an educator at GCU maybe for 8 weeks. And even though I'm getting to know you a little bit better, I can't write a reference letter for an assignment I'm grading. That's kind of a conflict of interest. So those are some options that you have available for that. Okay, so initially it's 3 lists of references, right? But the directions and rubric don't actually say that your letters have to be from the list of 3 people that work, education, or personal. I do think it is helpful if you can get a letter of reference from your preceptor. I think that's a good thing if you're looking at pursuing another position after graduation. But the 2 letters just can't be from a personal reference, just a friend, okay? They have to be professional in some sort, the actual letters themselves. And sometimes they take a little while to get. People are busy, it takes time to write them, so that's why you might want to start thinking about those, okay? The other section that's sometimes problematic, and I think I've touched on this a little bit before, are the NLN competencies. So unlike your discussion questions that are based on the competencies, you'll only be focused on what you have accomplished under each one of those competencies. Now, this can either be an accomplishment from your practicum or from any work experience you've ever had. So it doesn't just have to be, oh, I addressed this in my practicum, okay? So you're really going to have to review all the tasks underneath each competency. Look at what you put for your discussion response for that competency, and then focus on as many of the tasks as you can that you feel that you've had some accomplishment towards achieving those. Okay, so that's what you're going to be writing about when it comes to that. Okay, so since I brought up portfolios and maybe positions after graduation, I've decided to attach a list of interview questions for faculty. I located it a while back on the internet, and some of them apply a little bit more to the academic setting, but many of them apply to both academia and the clinical setting. You'd be surprised these days, especially for larger medical centers or maybe institutions that are part of healthcare corporations, the different types of questions that you get asked when you go to interview for nurse educator positions. And sometimes you'll have individual interviews, sometimes you'll have group interviews, often you will be asked to do a teaching demonstration. It really depends on the institution. So I wanted to provide those with you, and hopefully those will be helpful. This coming week, I kind of have a strange week. I'm recording this on Wednesday, and Utah got totally dumped on with snow today. It was crazy. I actually had a snow day through the school district that I worked for, and that never happens. So it's totally crazy. And then Saturday, my husband and I are flying out to Hawaii. So I will still be in the forums every day. You'll see not a lot of difference, but Saturday I will be traveling, so I probably will not be in there except maybe briefly in the morning. So just wanted to make you aware of that. All right, guys. Hope you have a great week, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the main forum.